Hello everyone and welcome back. We've got a Division 1 match here between SLU and UCLA. This is a big matchup here. SLU obviously one of the best teams in the league. They recently just qualified for the Final Four, which is very exciting. That should be taking place in April. UCLA, not as prestigious a chess team, but definitely still in Division 1 here. They're one of the top 16 teams. And they came off a rough loss last week against Mizzou, and now they're playing arguably one of the best teams in the league in SLU. So rough scheduling for this UCLA team the first 2 weeks, going up against the top two teams in their group. But after this match, things should go a bit easier for them. Of course, they still have to get through U Chicago. But yeah, this SLU team, they rescheduled their first week's match, so this is actually their first match of the season. Let's take a look at these games here. They just started. Here we've got Nicholas Theodorou, 3000 at board 1, playing against Hirsch. This is UCLA's board 4 at 2180. And you can already see Hirsch is feeling the time pressure here, already down to a minute and a half. Theodorou, meanwhile, has only used 12 seconds of their clock. So, gonna be a smooth sailing for Nico here in round 1. We do have some of the other games having started. Here we've got Gabe, the top board from UCLA, against Groovy Kettle. That is Robbie Kevlishvili, who I actually met in the elevator at Pan Am's. He's wearing that SLU hoodie, and I just knew he's one of the players. So, yeah, it's cool. It's cool to see, the players in real life, and then get to see them play online. And the UCLA team, of course, I know very well. I went to UCLA, as most people might already know. My username online is Joe Bruin. That is not my real name. My name's Joe Lee, but Joe Bruin is the mascot of UCLA. So when I went there, that was one of my nicknames. But yes, other Gabe, I have met National Master top board. UCLA is missing one of their other National Masters, Daniel Yedidia, who is the club vice president. So he's taking this week off. But yeah, they're still going to try to put up a good fight here. Maybe Gabe can squeak in a point or two. Who knows? This also isn't necessarily SLU's best lineup either, as SLU only has 4 players registered currently. But we know that they definitely have a lot of potential for a stronger roster. Maybe as a midseason add-on, they will bring more players, especially once we get around to the end of the season. Just to remind you all, we do have $30,000 in prizes for the season. In Division 1, it's $10,000 alone. So these teams are definitely going to be fighting for playoff spots. Top 6 in the group make the playoff bracket. So SLU has actually won the Collegiate Chess League before, all the way back in Season 1 in 2020. So it's been 3 years, and they're definitely going to try to make a run this season. So here we've got Great Owl. This is Gabriela Antova, also known as Gabby. She is one of our college ambassadors. So she is one of the club leaders, one of the representatives of the SLU chess team. She's playing up against Rithwick here, Narendra. So I actually am not as familiar with the bottom boards from the UCLA team. I'm kind of old now. It's been it's been a few years since I've graduated. But of course, I always gotta cheer for my alma mater. So, but yeah, they've got the odds stacked against them today, unfortunately. There's another game that I haven't looked at yet. This is Ashton versus Talia. Also, hello to Little Peasant. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Not to call you out, but that is the SLU coach tuning in. Yeah, he's cheering on his team. Alejandro has done some commentary for us, actually back in season 1 when his team won it. So I believe UCLA came in 3rd place that tournament, only losing to Mizzou. And I think Alejandro did some commentary on that as well. No, I think it was just Christian and me for the first part. But yeah, it's crazy to think that was 3 years ago. In Costa Rica visiting family. Yeah, well, enjoy your time. Sit back and relax. Maybe watch a little chess. See how your team's doing. Looks like Nico already has a win here. So that was a very quick result. Still has about 4 minutes left on his clock. But well, yeah, White never had the opportunity to castle. A nice check on D3. And yeah, just a nice cleanup job here from Nico, taking advantage of this beautiful bishop on A6. And no moves after this. All right, let's check out the next game. Let's keep an eye on UCLA's top board here, Gabe. And let's make sure we give Nico his first point, leading off SLU. All right, so yeah, another Grandmaster player here, 2,900. About a 400 rating point difference. But Gabe actually has a good position here. As you can see, the eval bar at the plus 1.4. So let's see and try to figure this out. Well, I'm not a big fan of this bishop, kind of biting on its own pawns. Gabe lashing out with f4, pushing the rook back. Yeah, strong bishop pair in the center for White, taking some space in the center here with e5, kicking the knight out. Robbie at some point might want to push for c5 and try to activate this bishop on the long diagonal. Queen out opposite the king. Maybe looking to continue the advance here, although e5 is hit a lot of times, so it's going to be hard to keep the f-pawn rolling. The bishop gives up on the long diagonal, tucks back to c8 opposite the queen, lining up some discoveries. The queen leaves, rook now to the b file. So now only after the rook leaves does Gabe open up the a file. Maybe after the bishop left, the rook was hanging on a8, so wanted to get out of any potential pins. So Gabe's gonna enjoy the advantage here while he can, but his clock is low. He's at 1.5 minutes. Robbie's still at 3.5 minutes. So even if the position's good for White for now, Robbie is definitely going to continue to fight back and maybe try to use the clock to the advantage. And once the time runs down, Gabe can be susceptible to mistakes and blunders. Papa Pizza in chat, as well as Brian. Good to see you both. I think your name's Brian. University of British Columbia is also streaming. Very nice. Okay, knight back to f8. Rook in on the 7th. Look at all of these pieces of Robbie's. It's kind of like a 960 position. I feel like that joke is used a lot, but legitimately it does look like that. So kind of a funny setup here for Black. It's going to be interesting to see how Robbie unwinds from here. Immediately trying to contest the rook placement, which makes a lot of sense. Rook takes, queen takes being one of the recommended lines here. And now it wants f5. f5 played. Pawn takes pretty quickly. It looks like Robbie was anticipating that. But now Oh man, this move is being called for. Really hard to see. E6, right? You just pushed F5. They took it, and it's very natural to take back. Computer was saying E6 was about plus 5.5, as crazy as that is. And why is that? Black has 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces covering E6, and white only has the rook supporting that pawn push. So yeah, very interesting. But yeah, threatening mate. Nope, the knight's there. They say a knight on f8. There is no mate. Or maybe they say that with the bishop. I don't know. They say something like that. This is a Zaitsev with a Breyer twist, technically. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the openings too well, but I do know what a Roy Lopez is. But the chess.com saying this is a Morphy defense Breyer Zaitsev hybrid variation for all of the strong players that want to find out. So yeah, e6 there apparently plus 5 for white, but now as you can see the eval bar is back to neutral. It's reading triple zeros. So it seems that Robbie has survived the worst of it, and now maybe it's time for him to take back initiative. You can see Gabe is under 30 seconds on the clock. And yeah, Robbie's playing quick. He's over 2 minutes still. The queen very active, bouncing around the board, getting chased a little bit by Gabe's bishop, but now we have a weakness on c3 as a target. No, the queen's guarding that, but maybe the rook will lift. So white lifts their rook. 15 seconds for Gabe. Alejandro is the coach for SLU, so very natural for him to be gauging the play of his players. 10 seconds for Gabe. Bishop back. The bishop was hit by the queen. The rook now very active, looking for a rook trade. Robbie now just under 2 minutes, but a ton of time compared to Gabe's 12 seconds. Let's check in with Gabby real quick. She's under 20 seconds here. Bishop takes g2. What a shot. King takes, now queen takes e2. And black is officially up a pawn. So Gabby and Gabe, interestingly, in similar situations. The Gabby and Gabe. I'm interested to see how their game turns out. But all right, what has changed in this game? Looks like Robbie has won 2 pawns, which is pretty good. Bishop's hit. Gotta watch out for that. So the bishop tucks back. Queen pins the bishop. Maybe trying to get this bishop in. No, the bishop's pinned. Uh-oh. Piling up on the pinned piece. 4 seconds for Gabe. Oh, he's blunt. Wait, that's a check. 1 check. Okay. Bishop blocking the queen. Trade. Check. Trade the queens off. This should be a very simple conversion for Robbie, up 2 pawns in the center. Knight versus bishop. And you'll see the knight and a lot of the pieces of Robbie's are living on the dark squares. That should be Gabe's last pawn. And now it's just 2 pawns to none. All right, let's check in with Gabby again. Can Gabby survive down a pawn? She's made a pass pawn of her own. She's getting behind. They're going to trade these outside pawns. Now it's a 3-on-2. I suspect she can hold this to a draw. Leaving the rooks on, very wise. But she is low on time still. She's shuffling. Black making some progress, pushing the pawns, advancing the king. Making space. Can Rithwick convert this? The king is stepping up. Check. King back. Let's see. Gabe just lost his game. All right, and let's check on Ashton versus Talia. Very low time for Talia. 7 seconds. Less than 10 seconds. Ashton up an exchange and up a C pawn. This is not looking good for Talia. Dishonor on your cow. We can take with check there. Block with the bishop, probably. Now watch out for your rook. Yeah, queen comes back. So just grab a pawn and retreat. 1 second, she resigns. All right, so Ashton, a point on the board for UCLA. And Gabby and Rithwig drew by agreement. So she was able to hold on there. She gets a half a point. Rithwig with half a point. And I believe Robbie won. So after round 1, the score is 2.5 to 1.5. So 1 point lead there for St. Louis University. The top 2 boards, the Grandmasters getting the job done. And the difference was Gabby getting a draw here against Rithwick. All right, so just a good start, actually, for UCLA, I'd say. Keeping it close. At some point, I suspect SLU's going to pull away. But when will that be? We shall see. Yeah, so all right, here we go. Round 2, we got Robbie versus Ashton. Did Robbie gain 2 points from that last game against Gabe? That's kind of funny. Yeah, Ashton, another national master. So UCLA's got a couple of them. I think their club has grown since last year, which is exciting. Always good to get new players, new masters especially, new talent. So, all right, Ashton already having castled. Fianchetto the bishop, attacking the knight there, threatening to triple isolate Black's pawn. So the knight moves. This also attacks c4. So knight to a5, trying to hold on and defend that. It also frees up the b pawn. The b pawn was needed to defend the knight. Now that the knight's not there, Black is ready to push for b5, solidifying that pawn chain. So this was a gambit. Black is up a pawn, and Robbie's prepared to hold on to it. Let's see. Did Robbie play for b5? Queen to c2, attacking the pawn a second time. Oh, the bishop comes out instead. So I wonder if b5, what the idea would be. Maybe a4. a4 anyways. So not taking on c4 right away. The problem is bishop to d7 defends c4 tactically, because if white takes twice, then bishop to b5 hits with the skewer, with the queen and the rook. So a4 is needed to help control b5. And now we see c5 captured, helping Robbie develop the dark square bishop. Maybe now you can take, but you might get in trouble now that the c file is opened up. All right. Ashton's weighed the pros and cons and has decided it's worth it. So they pull the trigger. Takes on c4. Balance the material. Robbie bringing the queen out to defend the bishop. And perhaps getting ready to castle soon. Meanwhile, Ashton has time to develop some of the other pieces. Opts for the move e4, taking some space in the center, maybe threatening to kick this knight out, but mainly opening up the way for the bishop. This allows for the knight to get to d5. Now, perhaps Ashton could win a pawn, yes, but after queen takes bishop to c6, going to be a monstrous piece. Uncontested on the long diagonal, so Ashton is hesitant to give up the fianchettoed bishop, understandably so. Instead continues to develop, saying, I'm going to threaten to take with my knight instead. But Robbie trades, and interestingly, no queen takes here. Instead, pawn takes, so this does isolate the c-pawn. Now, Robbie getting the second rook involved, opposite the queen. And the queen leaves for the g-file, opposite black's king, maybe threatening bishop to h6 at some point. That is a mate threat, but somewhat defendable. Robbie showing no signs of worry there. Instead, opts for bishop to c6, just contesting this beautiful diagonal. So ignored for now. We do see bishop h6. Now we're going to see how Robbie deals with this. There's a couple ways. You can push g6. You could put the queen back on f8, but don't want to underdevelop. So simply g6, and now maybe we've got some issues in this position for Robbie on the dark squares. Queen steps off, maybe looking to come to c6 on her own. But yeah, if I was Ashton, I'd try to go for this. Instead, we see h4, going for h5. Put it in h. All right, let's check on some of the other games we haven't looked at yet. We've got Theodoru, of course, top board for Slew, with the white pieces now, against Rithwick. So it's a knight versus a bishop. G6 played, putting pawns on light squares, opposite Theodoru's bishop. I wonder if G4 can be played, try to win the H-pawn. Probably not, because knight to H4 targets these light square weaknesses. So the king steps aside. We see a capture on D5. This pawn's now isolated. Rooks are doubled, and we do see G4 played. So now that the king has moved to F1, this might seem like a random move, but it's getting out of any checks, which is a nice little sequence there. The knight goes back to fianchetto. And if bishop takes here, there's rook takes here. Kind of an interesting trade-off there. And we see Theodorou goes immediately to e7. Just getting on the 7th. Probably you want to contest this, but you can't actually trade on d7. Or maybe you can. After this. I don't see the big deal. Maybe rook here, there's rook c7 or something. Maybe you can trade rooks. Knight to e6 instead, just giving up on the a-pawn. Both sides with 2 minutes. Let's check on Gabby's game against Ashton. No, this isn't Gabby. Sorry, that's Robbie. Here we go. Gabby versus Hirsch. And Gabby's got a fantastic bishop pair. This king is not safe in the corner. And love how the pawn structure is just going to tear apart black center. Bishop under attack right now. What happens if you take here? There's pawn takes here. Yeah, bishop f6 played. This knight's pinned. You can take here. She's at a minute. She's got a minute to win it. Let's check on her teammate, Talia, against the other Gabe. You have Gabby and the other Gabe. And how's this looking? So, looks good for white. We've got both rooks active. Queen is hit. Gabe yet to develop the light square bishop and not clear where it wants to go. We have queen to g5 for Gabe opposite the king. Knight takes on f4. The other knight diving in. Maybe trying to open up for the light square bishop as well. Bishop takes that, saying I can give up my bishop for it. Pawn takes, and now there's rook takes. You're torn, Brody, between the UCLA team and the SLU team. All right, under a minute for Talia. Gabe gonna try to hold on, and maybe Gabe can get her into time pressure, a time scramble. All right, doubled rooks on the E file. Gabe at least has the open A file now to work with. Still hasn't developed that bishop. And Talia's got a much better center for sure. She's got a 3-on-2 majority of pawns there. Her rooks are doubled. Her queen and bishop are working together. She's got a strong control over e6. You could see the knight go there, maybe attack c7. Black attacks the queen for a second. And we see Talia counterattacking the knight. c5 played. We could do an en passant, and then there's knight takes. How bad is that? This attacks the rook. Can we go rook e6? Probably not. Rook goes to b5. Defending b4 and attacking b6 for the second time. Also just saving the rook, by the way. Knight into d4. Rook d5 attacking the knight. Both players under 20 seconds now. Gabe at 10 seconds. Gabe's got to move. We're getting some results. Gabby won her game. Robbie won his game. So there's 2 points for Slew right there. 2 games left in this round. All right, we're going to see some mistakes soon. I can almost guarantee it. Uh-oh. The bishop's hit twice. It's pinned. Queen comes back to defend. Rook over. Oh, knight d3. Look at that. Oh, that's a triple fork. It's hitting everything, and the knight is pinned to the queen. But you might think, well, white can get black's queen. But no, rook takes comes with rook takes a second time. And there goes the exchange. The queen can't even take back. The knight's here. Knight comes here. Rook block. You can take, and then there's a pin at the end. Oh, Gabe ends up on top of the tactics. We have a resigner. So Gabe gets on the board. Talia still looking for her first point of the match. And Theodoro won his game. That was quite the scramble there. So yeah, Gabe holds on and wins that one. Let's see how some of the other ones finished. Yeah, just up a piece and a pawn for Nico. Nico with a smooth start. So we saw up till this point. Yeah, this knight e6 move I thought was kind of interesting, but looks like the plan was to trap the bishop. So black gets a pawn back there on the H file. But maybe white's past A pawn was too strong. We sack an exchange and a pawn. Or for knight and a pawn, but looks like you get that back. Yeah, and the king and the rook just work together to win that pawn. All right, so 2 rounds. What's the score? 5.5 to 2.5. So a 1-point lead after round 1. And now a 3-point lead after round 2. So that was a 3-1 round for Slew. UCLA falling behind even further. Talia still looking for her first point. Same with Hirsch. Both board 4s without points so far, but they still have half the match left. Just waiting on round 3 to start. Some people from your high school texted me out of the blue for lessons. The chess boom is sick. How much are you charging for lessons, Brody? How much does a Brody lesson cost these days? I know like there's pre-boom pricing. Maybe you would have done it, you know, like first lesson's free. Second lesson's gonna cost you, you know, I don't know. But now it's like chess is a hot commodity. Look at this. These players are playing like it's bullet. They know this line apparently. You see how fast they just did this? Bishop here, knight in, knight back, bishop check. That was almost pre-moved. King moves and the bishop comes all the way back home saying, listen, I I made your king move. That's a job well done. No more castling for Ashton. But even though you can't castle, it could be a blessing in disguise. You've got the rook on the H file. You could put it in H. Maybe you start attacking. Lessons are priceless from Brody. Your lessons might be priceless, but how much is your time worth? I think is the question. I think someone asked Daniel Naroditsky how much a lesson would be, an hour-long lesson on stream, and he said it was $2,000. So I don't know why I shared that, but that was recently on stream. Just reminded me of that. I don't know if Brody lesson would be as valuable, but he says the lesson's priceless, so no price point yet. All right, let's check on Gabe versus Gabby. The battle of the Gabriels. Like, I don't know. All right. Gabe is the rating advantage, but Gabby's got the title advantage. She's a FIDE master. $20, $25. So we go from priceless to 20 pretty quickly there. Yeah. I think it also depends like on who you're teaching, right? Like I think if I had a friend reach out, I'd probably give them some lessons for free. Brian trying to negotiate in chat. The CCL should offer some sort of coaching service, right? Like college students register as coaches. We list that somewhere, and then other college students interested can reach out to them and make a connection there. Ideally, like every chess club would have their own kind of coach. So then people could search by school. Just an idea. Here, I like the move e4. E4 feels like it makes sense. Right? There's also castles. I think Brian's getting a good negotiation skill here in chat. Brody cutting off the tie, unfortunately. All right, b4 played by white. Taking space on the queen side. Delaying castling. So is there a threat to play b5? Where does the knight go? Probably not a lot of good options. So we see a6 trying to put a halt to the b pawn. But b5 or b4 is not only just to like harass the knight, it's also giving a square for Gabby's bishop, which goes to b2 now. And Gabe, already having been castled, prepared to play in the center, plays e5, and Gabby closes it, attacks the knight with d5. But this helps her bishop on b2 a bit. But this move d5 has closed in her light square bishop a little bit. And she follows it up with e4 as well. So light square bishop going to struggle for a little bit here in due time, but we'll see how she maneuvers. SIUE's d10. Your name on here is actually not. Oh, it's. I was saying Brian. It's Brain. I thought on Discord you were Brian, but I guess your name's Joe. So hello to a fellow Joe. 2K Rapid. Heck yeah, Brody. Honestly though, Rapid, we might have a Rapid format again for the fall. Our last season was a Rapid tournament, but we might combine the two ideas. Let's check on the other game. Let's see what's going on here. Nico versus Ashton. What's going on? Nico's got the white pieces. This is the game where we saw the bishop c6 check early. Ashton hasn't moved the h-pawn yet, and the rook is still collecting dust in the corner. Okay, so this knight attacked 3 times, defended only twice. What is Nico's response? Nico's up time as well. All right, so trade the knights. Pawns on dark squares. If you want to see Brody's first match, we have it on record. You can check it out. Also, Brody, I think SIUE like forfeited their match early. What's up with that? Queen here attacking this. It's going to be a big fork. King defending. There's a check if you want it. Probably not the best idea. You can continue to trade if you want. Ashton does have the outside passed a-pawn. So that's pretty cool. All right, rook lift to c5. Trade of bishops. King or queen takes. Probably king is my guess. King does take. All right, rook's doubled on the c file. SIUE gonna win d10, starting off 0 for 2. Gonna be hard to do, actually. That would be very difficult. I feel like, I mean, you only have 5 games left. Surely some teams are 2-0. I don't know. Anyways, let's check on Ashton's very long time, less than 30 seconds. Let's check on Robbie versus Rithwick. Robbie's crushing, as to be expected. King in check. King in shambles. Here, both sides. Okay, this player castles and king to d2. Yeah, no castling for poor Robbie here. This knight is getting it's getting a little toasty in here. Does anyone else feel the heat, or is it just Rithwick? Queen d3. Florida Gulf Coast. Which UCLA team is in Division 11? I forget how many UCLA teams there are. Maybe like 6. All right, so let's see. Is Black's next move going to be queen to a5? Maybe we need like rook c2. Let's see. 1, 2, 3 attacker. Oh. This removes one of the defenders of the knight, so that is not good. That is a free piece. Free piece territory there. So the king's in check. Robbie left his queen hanging. And now, oh, that's a pen. And we have resigns. So Robbie, perfect so far. 3 for 3. How's Talia doing against Hirsch? These are the board fours. Talia 10 seconds. Hirsch with the white pieces. He's in check. King B1. King C1. King up to C3. He does go back to B1. Knight comes back. What's going on here? Rook back, attacking the knight. Pawn attacking the rook. Rook to C3, attacking the pawn. You cannot take that because knight D2 would be a fork. So keep an eye out. King comes up to C2. Little check. King down. Knight check back again, but maybe king D1 now. Yes. But a knight move will attack the B pawn, so it's kind of annoying. Maybe king back to C2 now? No, just trade. Ah, because that hits the rook or the knight afterwards, but you lose the A pawn. Knight comes back hitting the bishop, king up to protect. So yeah, Hirsch is simply up a pawn. So that's nice. And up a lot of time as well. Nico beat Ashton. Yeah. Forcing the queen trade and pawns promoting. All right. Ooh. Other Gabe beat Gabby. I am like missing these games. So let's see. Gabe just picked up a couple pawns there. Oh, what happened? Knight here and then into the pen, I think, is the problem. So you lose 2 pawns. And Gabe just has the 2 outside connected passers. And then that ends with the fork there. So not Gabby's best game. Let's see how Talia's going to do. Good news, though, for Slew is they're at 7.5. They only need 1 more point to win the match. You think he beat Hirsch in CCL Arena one time? One time for the one time? Speaking of the CCL Arena, we do have our weekly prize arena coming back tomorrow. It's every Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific. And we will have additional prizes at the end of the season. But every week we give out a additional membership to the top 5 performing schools. All right, I wonder why Hirsch didn't want to save that E pawn. Right here, it looks like you could play E6 or something, but doesn't need it necessarily. Talia down on time, might resign. 1 second left. 2.5 seconds there. 1 second. There she goes. All right, Hirsch on the board. And UCLA, they're going to need to sweep the final round for the biggest comeback victory of all time and take down SLU for their first loss of the season. You don't like the increment? Yeah. Yeah. These the league format, I think we've always had increment. I think last fall season we were planning on doing 10+0 qualifiers, but that idea got shot down. So the increment was there to stay. All right, last round Only 1 point needed for Slew. If I had to guess how they get that 1 point, maybe they get a draw from Nico and a draw from Robbie. Maybe, because they're grandmasters, right? They could do a grandmaster draw. Or is the grandmaster draw only between two grandmasters? UCLA, unfortunately, is lacking in the grandmaster department. If I were to guess where the point comes from for Slew, it'd probably be this game right here. If I had to bet, I think Robbie should win this game. Call me crazy, I know. It's a bold prediction, but I feel like Robbie's been playing well today. 3-0, no hiccups. Don't get me wrong, like Theodoro, he's a strong player. Like he's also 3-0, but he's up against Gabriel Sam. He's the other Gabe. He beat Gabby. So maybe he'll just be known as Gabe now. And Gabriella will have to change her username to other Gabby. But yeah. Theodoro already showing how comfortable he is, up 10 seconds since the start of the game. Just building time. I've definitely seen a game finish with more time than they started with. Probably like a U Chicago match. Probably like a Wonder. He's done some crazy stuff like that. Yeah, Gabe's Bishop, really strong piece, right? Preventing castling, but it's gonna be chased off the board by the Knights. So and not really even in a rush to take necessarily. Gabe under 3 minutes now. Top board from UCLA. He's also the point leader for the team. Can he lead the 4-0 comeback victory? It's not looking so, unfortunately. So, all right. Brings the bishop out. We do see the trade. Bishop developed, so the pawn's hit twice. Defended once. 2 is greater than 1. Therefore, it needs some extra protection. Now Nico castles. Danya got up to 3450. Is that like a site record? Wait, was that bullet? It's crazy. All right. Speaking of the other Gabby, how's she doing against Ashton? Ashton's got a good amount of time. Gabby's going to get under 2 minutes here. Strong knight for white. Maybe the bishop's going to come out. This bishop's under attack. I don't know if white is even interested. Maybe like rook pen makes sense. Yeah, Gabby's thinking what she should do. Maybe this is a smart idea. It's what the computer likes, at least. No, bishop comes here. We might see rook d1 still. Yep, rook d1 played pretty quickly too. Yeah, I think time's going to be an issue on this one. Let's check on Talia. All right, so Talia looking for her first point still. She is the rating favorite here. Is she going to get swept? Or is she going to get some points? I think this could be her game. This could be her chance. She could be she could win the match for Slew with a point. My money's still going to be on Robbie though. I think Robbie's going to do fine. Hirsch bring in the pawn storm. Hitting the knight. Knight comes back to c3. Eyeing up the d5 square. Hirsch yet to castle. Knight hits the rook. Opens up the bishop. I don't know if you would want to give up the bishop. All right, rook steps up. Now we're threatening to take and win material. So offering the bishop trade. Bishop takes, queen takes. The knight defends the rook, so Hirsch starting to get low on time. Let's check on our top boards here, Gabe and Nico. So Nico's got the bishop pair. Nico's also got an isolated e-pawn. White has doubled pawns. This pawn is hanging. This bishop is hanging. All right, queen in. Attacking the knight. Attacking the g-pawn a little bit. It's defense. Actually, did I say this pawn was hanging? It's not. Please, pardon my... I'm bad at chess, all right? Not hanging. It's under attack, but all right, anywho. Very centered queen here for Nico. Maybe rook d1. Maybe. Why not? What's wrong with that move? Gabe, under a minute. I kind of want to watch the other Gabby. She's got 15 seconds. Bishop takes h7. What? Okay. Ugh. Gabe spent so much time. He's at 25 seconds and he blunders bishop takes g2. What's going on here? Nico's got so much time. Bishop takes g2 played. Yeah, what was wrong with rook d1? This pawn's hanging. Maybe that's why you didn't want to play rook d1. You were looking at a different game. Where are you, Brody? Get your head in the game, man. All right. Can Gabby hold on here? 15 seconds to 2.5 minutes. Can you play chess like this? We will find out. Gabby will show us. This pawn is hanging, though. So, hello. Hit twice, defended 0 times. Maybe the rook activity can be worth it. Knight hits both pieces, but I'm expecting rook a7. What else? Takes, check, hit the knight. I would have maybe considered this first. Maybe there's this and that. I don't know. 14 seconds. She's trying to enter this way now. But 2 pawns on the outside. Not too shabby for Ashton. Robbie just won, so I don't know how much imaginary money I bet, but my prediction came true. So Slew wins, despite the efforts of UCLA. Still points on the line, though. Hello, white noise. All right, the pawn is running. The pawn is running. All right, rook here, push. I don't know. Let's check back in with Talia. How's she doing? All right, she lashed out with f4. She's threatening a fork. Classic. But What if G takes? G takes. Interesting. Knight backwards. Still push. Push. Seems natural. Hit the queen. Queen here. Nope. Here. Computer likes h4. I really don't understand that. But, okay, there's this move. Whoa. Rook e3. And you don't want to go here because you're going to blunder that. Although I guess you get that back in the end, but where to go? Okay, queen comes here. It's the same as this, but you're protected. So there's none of this stuff. So this guy's probably going to move. Nope, h4. Aggression from Rithwick. Computer is saying this move is good. I don't know why. Oh, because this guy's in a pin. Wow, she finds it. She finds it in time pressure. What a nice shot from Talia. Theodoru beat Gabe. So the top two boards from Slew go undefeated, a perfect 4 for 4. Ashton beat Gabby. So the top two boards from UCLA beating both bottom boards. And Talia, though, she's looking good. She's looking good here. She just won an exchange. She is down on time. She's defending against mate. All good signs. Queen here. That blunders the rook, and we have a resigner. So Talia, she doesn't go home empty-handed. She gets a win in the fourth and final round. And with that, we have the final score, 10.5 to 5.5. Slew getting their first win of the season. They rescheduled their first week's match, so this was really their first match of the season, and this is a good sign of things to come for them. UCLA still looking for their first win. They definitely had a tough schedule these first two rounds against Slew and Mizzou. So, yeah, with that, we're going to take a break. We're going to have some more matches later today. I think in 1 hour, we should have BYU versus University of Mississippi. That is a Division 10 matchup. So that might be relevant for Brody to watch because that's his same division. And then after that, we have a Division 4 matchup between University of Massachusetts Amherst and Carnegie Mellon. So an East Coast match there. So, yeah, that's it for me for now. We're going to take an hour break, but thank you all for being here. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate the support. Congrats to Slew again, first win of many to come this season, I suspect. And yeah, good luck to UCLA in the next few weeks. Hopefully they can get on the board with some easier pairings. But yeah, stick around. We're going to raid you guys somewhere. Maybe play some... No, I need to eat lunch. But good to see you, White Noise. We will play Valorant soon. Let's see who's on right now. Illinois is on. Indiana is on. Should I read Illinois or Indiana? Let's rate Indiana. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, and I'll see you back in 1 hour.